What does Bambi, the Statue of Liberty, golden urns, and Tom Riddle have in common? Honestly, I wish I could answer that, but I am just very, very confused. Hey everyone, this is D Movie Man, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. And today, of course, I'm coming to you all with yet another episode of The Traitors, Season 3, Episode 5, All This Murderous Power. So we immediately pick up where we left off last time, where Rob is having to basically face the music regarding his choice to get Bob the drag queen out of the game. He justifies it by saying that since Bob threw his name out by mentioning the 3 new guys and how we think there might be traitors, yeah, he's like, okay, you came at me and I just had to take a shot. But he also makes it clear to Danielle and Carolyn that he absolutely won't do that to them. And I'm just like, oh, Boston Rob, Boston Rob, Boston Rob. Carolyn basically shares the same sentiment that my mom and I had in the last episode, which is that really for Rob, this was about being in control, running the show, being the top dog, just being the head honcho, period. And ultimately, the core of this is his ego taking center stage. They then, of course, float a few names for elimination. They mentioned Sam, and I was like, who? And then I remembered, oh, Sam, Britney Spears' ex-husband. And I was just like, I'm not even trying to be funny. I literally forgot he was there. Like, I don't even think, has he even said anything since he's been here? Like, that man has faded into the background. So when they said Sam, I was like, oh, yes, maybe? They also mentioned Robyn, and Carolyn is just like, okay, can we not just keep running with this whole housewives thing? And Rob is saying like, okay, but it'll cause chaos. It'll cause chaos. And I'm just like, is chaos the strategy? Is confusion a strategy? Or do y'all just not know what you're doing? Like, it's only so much chaos and confusion that can happen before it's just like, y'all are just doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not being thought out. Like, the strategy is basura. Okay? I'm just like, what is with the anti-housewives thing? Like, did y'all get together behind the scenes and just say like, hey, those housewives, like, we just got to get them out of here. It just doesn't make sense. Oh my gosh. And it's not even about the fact that I like the housewives. Let's just say I never had watched Housewives, but it's just like, why are they the targets? It makes no sense at all. And they also bring up Gabby's name in relation to breaking up the Bambis. But then Rob just kind of feels like, they're kind of all over the place, and that might not be a good idea. So we get to breakfast the next morning, and the eliminated faithful, of course, is Robyn. And I'm just like, I just don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. For what reason? I just think, again, this whole Housewives takedown is honestly nonsensical. And it's kind of irritating. And I won't act like I was Robyn's biggest fan, but what did she really do to deserve getting, taken out of the game? Whew! So while they're still at the table, Ivar brings up the whole discussion about Rob and Wes and how they discussed that, hey, Rob could very likely be a traitor. And of course, Carolyn is there to hear it. But then later, I don't understand this either. Ivar then goes to Rob and tells him what Wes said. And I'm just like, if you think someone may possibly be a traitor, does it make sense to go to that person and tell, like, no one knows how to move this. Okay. It's just like no one knows how to keep things close to the vest. Maybe a few people, but it's just like we running telling that. We're like busting up the gameplay. Like, ooh, man. So then Rob decides to find out the truth from Wes. And what Wes gives him is far from the truth. It's actually a lie. He makes it clear, like, no, not me, no. Your name brought your name up, no. And he's just like, yeah, I'm lying, but I'm not going to, like, I'm not going to be your target and let you know that, yeah, I've been talking about you so you can take me out the game? Absolutely not. So, in the meantime, Wes is just like, okay, I'm going to figure out some way around this, but for now, I'm just going to let you think that, yeah, I'm 100% on your side. And I was not mad at that. Some actual strategy, some actual critical thinking. I'm fine with that. So then the BS continues. Ooh, when I'm trying to keep it together, but Danielle and Carolyn have a conversation. Carolyn is trying to make it clear to Danielle, like, look, Rob is telling me he has my back, but I don't know if he's been telling you that. And I want to make you aware of what's going on. So then Danielle basically says that, you know what? I think that Rob and Carolyn are working together. So what I feel like I should do is, get Carolyn's name out there, throw her under the bus, and then recruit a new traitor and work with them. I can't! I know I said this might possibly be the worst season as far as gameplay in the last couple of recaps, but now I'm officially certain. It's just like, what are we doing here? And not to say that I'm not still entertained, but just when it comes down to the people we've taken out of the game, what we've seen, the way, the guesses, the lack of guessing, the confusion, the back and forth, the lack of critical thinking and logic and reason, it is blowing me. Like, it is blowing my mind, honestly. We then jump forward to the challenge, which takes place in a church, which naturally is populated with our favorite creepy golden masked figures. We also see Alan standing at the front of the altar near these shells with what looks to be these golden urns. Let me also say, because we know Alan's going to bring us fashion. He's going to give us a look. And so this look, honestly, was giving me Elsa from Frozen mixed with the Statue of Liberty. And you know what? Hey, I am not mad at all. Now, as far as the gameplay, Alan is basically putting forth these riddles. And whoever wants to answer the riddle, they have to then step up to the altar where the golden urns are. And they have to grab the urn with the corresponding word that answers the riddle. And they have to go to the stone circle and drop it, and it shatters, of course. If the dust inside is gold, then they've won, and they can add $2,500 to the pot. But if it's anything else other than gold, then that particular person does not bank any money, and they also forfeit their opportunity to compete in the rest of the challenge. There's also a piece of the game where once the person wins, they have the opportunity to take a portrait from this, easel wall situation over here. And then there are these two golden frames for people to place their portrait or someone else's portrait on. And whoever is the last person at the end of the game, by the time they get to the end, to have their portrait up there, they're the ones who will be shielded from elimination. Like I said before, I am so glad that the dynamics of the Shield this time around are a lot more interesting and a lot more dynamic overall. I wasn't mad with what they were doing to begin with, but it was just more so a game of chance, whereas it's like, no, you have to actually think and be more strategic in how you want to actually get the Shield. So I actually think that's a great change up for this season. Tom Sandoval also mentions Harry Potter and Voldemort, and Tom Riddle, and how he's basically channeling Tom Riddle energy today. Comparing yourself to what amounts to the devil spawn in Harry Potter, yeah, you're not beating the allegations. So Bob is the first person to jump up, but he wasn't listening, so he doesn't even really know the riddle, and he also doesn't know what urn to pick, so he blows his opportunity. I was like, Bob, come on now. Maybe he was just enthusiastic. He kind of said like, oh, I just wanted the shield. But I'm like, hey, you losing us money. I'm going to need you to pull it together. So at one point, we see Danielle answer one of the riddles correctly, and she goes to grab one of the portraits, but it's not her own that she grabs. She chooses instead to grab Dolores' portrait and add it to the frame. And everybody's like,
oh no, baby, what is you doing?
Rob is just like, okay, so the strategy is to let them know that you're pretty much safe and you don't need to save yourself from being eliminated? Yeah, great job. So at this point, on the shield frames, we have Derek on the left side and then Tom Sandoval on the right side. Danielle decides to remove Derek's portrait, and Derek's like, excuse me. They are both obviously from the Big Brother world, so they have their own separate bond, and he's just trying to figure out, like, what's this? So then, when she wins again, she decides to put Derek's portrait back on the frames. Derek is kind of like, okay. And, I mean, thanks, but... And then everyone else, including Chrishell, they're like, what is... Okay, I'm sensing some red flags here. Like, what's really going on? And I was really rolling when Dolores was just like, so, do you not need to be safe? I'm not sure what your strategy is here, but it's most definitely about to blow up in your face. But of course, Danielle did not think that far because in this game, Danielle, as we can see, does not think at all.
You're stupid. You're not smart. You're not smart.
So in the end, they bank $15,000 for the prize pot. And when it comes down to it, the two remaining contestants in the shield frame are Dolores and Derek. For the final riddle, Ciara is the one who gets it correct. And regarding the frames, she decides to replace Derek's portrait with her own, and I was absolutely fine with that. So, if I have not made it clear already, I should go ahead and say that Danielle, like, sucks. I mean, sucks. She is giving big loser energy all up and through this game. I can't speak to her legacy in Big Brother, but man, it does not give me any hope or faith. Like, you would have never thought that she was such a significant part of that and made such an impact. I'm like, I don't know what this is here. She decides that she's going to go to Britney and then start really pushing Carolyn's name. She also does it in the car, riding with some of the guys. And I'm just like, so Boston Rob is the one who gets your friend, Bob the drag queen, your homie, gets him completely out of the game, but you're going to go at Carolyn rather than team up with Carolyn and get Rob out.
Are you dumb?
Honestly, to quote the Lauryn Hill, it could all be so simple, but you'd rather make it hard. Where's the brain power here? Like, I'm trying to find it, and I just, like, I'm looking everywhere, and it is gone. It is finito. It is like, it is non-existent. It's just like, turn this on, please. So then Chrishell decides to confide in Boston Rob, of all people, concerning her suspicions about Nikki, because, of course, when she was in the car, and it was brought up to her that Bob the drag queen had floated her name as a potential traitor, she was like, you know, she reacted. And for Chrishell, it's just like, like, just the energy was off, and she felt like Nikki's energy has been off since Bob the drag queen has been taken out of the game. So we finally make it to the round table, and we see Ivar kicking things off, and he mentions Ciara, Nikki, and Rob as potential candidates for banishment. Sam finally speaks up, and he makes it clear, like, look, if they don't take out Rob tonight, then the next day, he's going to be in my crosshairs. Like, just making it clear. Like I said, I'm glad Sam decided to finally say something, because he has been the equivalent of wallpaper so far this season. Unfortunately, Nikki and Ciara start going at it, and they don't realize it, but they are playing right into the Traitors' hands. Ciara feels that Nikki was just not that shocked when Bob the drag queen left, and she's been just a little too calm, a little too cool, and a little too collected. And Nikki then throws over to Ciara like, look, after that whole coffin situation, you weren't trying to talk to me. You didn't seem to want to have anything to do with me. So for me, that made me think that you might be a traitor. I don't really understand the whole basis of you didn't talk to me. I'm just kind of like, or maybe. Because here's the thing, like, Nikki is in her own orbit with Chrishell and with Gabby. So I'm just like, okay. To me, that's always a flimsy rationale, but then most of the rationale on the show and at the round tables tends to be pretty off base. So I'll get off of that. So then Chrishell drops her bomb on Nikki, which is that, like, hey, I saw your expression in the car. You know, I really love you and you're my best friend in this game. And I really don't want to do this, but I think you might be a traitor. And she thinks a big part of Nikki's drop in energy has been the fact that she's had to lie to some of her closest friends in this game. But, then Bob Harper speaks up. I was like, okay, Bob. And he makes it very clear to Rob, I've watched everything you're in. I know you. I know your game. And I think it is absolutely possible, even more than possible, I think it is almost a certainty that you would come into this game and immediately take out another traitor to establish your dominance. And I was like, woo! Come on, Bob. Like, yes. Expose it. Put it out there. I was like, finally, somebody coming with some, yes, like that is it exactly. So, of course, Rob deflects and he's like, no, but that's not what happened and that's not what I'm doing. It's only a matter of time, Rob. It's only a matter of time. So in the end, everyone is convinced to vote Nikki except for Dylan, who randomly votes for Gabby. Okay. Ultimately, Nikki makes it clear, like, look, I don't know what your perception of people is. I don't know what your perception of me was, but you need to not make assumptions based off of how people act and because they don't act the way you think they should act, and just kind of saying, like, look, you can't base this whole traitor thing on your personal judgments and your personal perception because I, unfortunately for you guys, am a faithful. And of course they're, oh no. I'm just like, well, I mean, that's what happens, you know? So, like, y'all are not going for the right targets. There's no reason why Danielle's name should have been brought up. Rob, they should have, like, gone harder for Rob, but, you know, they're bouncing between this whole Ciara and Nikki thing, which, as goofy as it is, that whole coffin situation has everyone like, oh, well, maybe. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, get off the coffins, please. Move on. So then, my boy Dylan decides to inform Carolyn that Danielle has put her name out there. I was like, whew. You don't know how heated I was getting watching this, but ending with Dylan telling her that and her being like, oh. She's like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, so there's no honor among thieves. There's no, like, unity. There's no, like, connection amongst the traitors. We just taking each other out? Oh, okay, bet. Game over. I see that this season is bringing a whole new meaning to the word traitor. And that closes out episode 5, All This Mother's Power. There's not really much more for me to say at this point. The gameplay is a hot mess. The strategy is a hot mess. Danielle's hair is a hot mess. It's just like a whole lot of mess going on. But like I said, I'm rooting for my girl. Carolyn, please. I'm hoping for the best. Get Danielle out of here. Get Rob out of here. And if you got to bring in some other traitors, fine. But I can't take Danielle, and I'm over Rob. I'm tired. I'm tired, and I'm through. My blood pressure is going up, and I don't have time. I'm trying to be healthy. Okay, so I'm gonna need things to turn around soon. So I'm gonna hope for the best. I have faith in Carolyn, and I hope she makes it happen because I can't take much more. So once again, this is D Movie Man signing off, and I'll see you at the movies.